Hello, this is Jack Cluth.
And I'm Lauren Wersher.
And welcome to the
Ratings and Reviews
podcast. We'll get better at that in the future.
This is our first episode after all.
Yep. All right, so how are we doing tonight, Lauren?
I'm doing good. I'm kind of tired, but I mean, it's the end of the week. Weekend's coming. I'm pretty excited.
Same here. What have you been watching this week, Lauren?
Not a whole lot. I mean, I've had to watch some movies for some of the classes I've been taking, but I guess one of the most notable ones, I saw Tenet recently, the new
Christopher Nolan?
Yep, Christopher Nolan. It was a headache, but I mean, it was still a pretty good movie. So, what about you?
Yeah, I actually saw Tenet a little while ago, and I will completely agree with what you just said. It's probably Christopher Nolan's most Christopher Nolan movie he's made so far. Yeah, besides that, I haven't been watching too much. A couple horror movies here and there, but
yeah, it is spooky season.
It is spooky season, so we're getting ready for that. All right, so seeing as this is our first episode, Lauren, why don't you tell us all a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Lauren Wersher, as I already said. I am a freshman at MSUM. Currently, I am studying animation in the film and animation section of MSUM. It's been about a month since we've gotten here, so it's been quite a bit recently, but I mean, I'm doing okay. College is fun, so not really much more I have to say about that. What about you?
I'm Jack Cluth. I am a film production major here at MSUM. Same as Lauren. It's been a little bit busy here in the last few weeks, but things are going pretty good so far. I don't know, if I had to say one thing about myself, it's that I like movies.
Really?
Yes, I like movies. That is all. That is it. That's my whole character.
This is your character.
This is my character, everybody.
All right.
All right, so for those of you probably asking yourself, what should I be expecting from the Ravings and Reviews podcast? Well, we're going to tell you. This is primarily a movie review podcast. We are going to be premiering every Monday and Friday. On Mondays, me and Lauren are going to be reviewing a movie together, and we're going to switch every other day, or every other week, giving movie reviews and suggestions. And on Fridays, we will have special guests on to talk about movies of their choice. So look forward to that. Next Friday, we'll have our first special guest. And Monday, we'll be talking about another review. But today is Friday right now. And seeing as this is our first episode, we don't have a guest yet, but we got big things in the work. Just you wait.
Just you wait. Things are coming. So I guess with that out of the way, kind of the introduction, we can kind of introduce our movie that we reviewed for this week, which is Lights Out. It will be keeping with the theme of Halloween. We decided to choose a horror movie for our first episode. So, yeah, I guess just a little background that I found about the movie. This is the movie Lights Out. It came out in 2016. It was directed by David F. Sandberg, produced by James Wan, Lawrence Gray, and Eric Heiserer, and also written by Eric Heiserer. Yeah, I mean, one interesting thing I found about this is that this movie was the director's directorial debut. So this was David F. Sandberg's first ever movie. Some of his other notable works have been the Annabelle series and also Shazam. You may know some of the producers. James Wan, who did the Saw movies and Dead Silence. Lawrence Gray, I know he has like a film production company. I couldn't really find any good movies that were attached to his name, and I feel bad, but I guess the most interesting person I found out stuff about was the writer, Eric Heiserer, who did a lot of horror movie reboots. Most notably, he wrote the Bird Box,
Sure.
and also the Thing reboot from 2011, Final Destination 5, and the Nightmare on Elm Street movie in 2010, where the Freddy was not Robert Englund.
All 10 out of 10 movies he's helped write so far, I must say.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I mean, that's kind of a lot of the background information I could find about the movie. So what about you? Like, what are some of your initial thoughts about just face value? How do you think the movie was, and what do you think about it?
All right, so basically, Lights Out is the story of a family that is haunted by an insidious force that can only be seen in the darkness. This movie came out in 2016, and I was too much of a baby boy back then to even think about seeing it in the movie theaters. That was not going to happen. I remember walking into my dark living room and seeing the trailer for it and just noping out of the whole house. No, that was not going to happen. And then about probably a few months later, honestly, I was working at a job at my local pool, and I had some downtime, and I was watching movie trailers, and I stumbled across the Lights Out one. And I kind of, over the days, I kind of worked up my level. Like, I'd watch the first 20 seconds and be like, okay, I'm done, I can't do anymore. Then I'd watch the next 30, and then I'd watch the next 40. And then finally I'd seen the whole trailer, I'm like, ooh, can I handle this super scary movie? I don't know.
You gotta pace yourself with horror movies.
Actually, so, yeah, this was the first horror movie that I ever saw, that I ever mustered up the courage to watch. And I would say that it is a pretty good one.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought it was very simplistic, very not necessarily short, but shorter than other horror movies I've seen. I felt like they did the pacing really, really well. There weren't any times of like, ugh, this is dragging on forever. Like, because some horror movies have that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this is the most recent time I've ever really watched this movie. The only time I ever watched this movie, finger quotes, is I had it on as background noise with a group of friends that we were just like playing games, and it was just on the TV behind us, but we weren't really paying attention to it.
Sure.
So I can very safely say this is my first time watching this movie.
Yeah, this is probably my 6th time watching this movie.
Oh,
So, yeah, this is a bit of a classic for me at this point. I've since watching Lights Out for the first time, I have gone on to watch about as diverse of a horror film collection as you can probably get. We have worked our way up the ladder of horror, and it's probably my favorite genre now, I'd say. And I would genuinely have to say that I would attribute most of that to Lights Out. It really got me interested in the genre. It was a good stepping stool, because this movie is not like, ooh, shiver me timbers, I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. Maybe it will.
I mean, I would beg to differ on that one. Like, it's a little scary. Like, it's shadow demons. Like, that's... I mean, not as... Well, would you consider it a shadow demon?
See, that's one of the interesting parts about the movie, I think, is you
can't really, name what the main entity is other than the name Diana.
Yeah, it's like part ghost, part monster, almost.
Yeah, it's
part
really
human.
Weird.
It's not as traditional as, like, a ghost from, say, like, The Conjuring or something, or, like, a slasher. It's not a real person, but it used to be. It's a little bit unclear about what it is, but
it's kind of unclear, but I feel like it works.
I think it almost helps that it's a bit more like... I think it adds to the fear factor of you don't even know what this thing is.
Yeah,
and it's not as similar to something as you might have seen before. And while this is by no means a complex movie or a complex antagonist, but...
Some bits it can be, I was kind of thinking of Diana's background, her, how she became the way she is. We can talk about that later though, but I would say this is a very simplistic movie in terms of other horror movies that I've seen, but
I think the simplicity is what makes it work.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole appeal of the movie to me, is it's a very simple, just don't turn off the lights. You have to stay in the light, and it's basically that for the whole movie.
Yeah.
And I like the simple premise of it. It's not too complicated. It's only like 86 minutes. It flies by.
It does. It really does fly by. Like, I remember I was watching it last night, and I was looking at, like, the timer of it, and I was like, wow, I'm already halfway through the movie. Oh my god, it's almost over. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
This is going really, really fast.
Yeah, it really comes and goes.
Yeah.
It does not overstay its welcome, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I feel like I would not enjoy it as much if it was any longer than how it was.
Agreed. So this is one of the movies that I would put in the classification of, I've coined this term myself, the sensory deprivation genre of horror. So you have movies like this, Lights Out. You have movies like Bird Box. You have movies like Hush on Netflix, or A Quiet Place. Movies where one key sense is removed from the person, and then a horror movie is created. So, for example, in Bird Box, you can't use your vision.
See.
In A Quiet Place, you can't make noise, which I suppose that isn't a sense. It would fall into line of, like, hearing. Same thing with Hush. The main character is deaf, and so she has to fight off a killer while also not being able to hear anything.
That's interesting. I've never actually thought about that before. Like, having, like, sensory deprivation being, like, a genre of horror. Because, like, obviously you have slashers, you have, like, the paranormal, like, obviously you could also categorize this as paranormal, but also, like, that's really interesting. I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah, I've almost kind of seen a spike of them recently. I mean, starting with, I don't know what the first sensory deprivation movie has come out, but I would say this was one of the earlier ones, and then it's almost become a trend. I think Quiet Place and Bird Box, really made it a big thing. And then you kind of get some copycat movies like The Silence on Netflix, which was a really bad horror movie trying to piggyback off of the, don't make any noise kind of concept. So
yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting it almost makes it feel more personal, because sight is a sense that like the majority of people have, like this sense, like hearing. It almost makes it feel more real, and that's what makes it scarier.
Mm-hmm. And it also, the premise of this plays on a very, very simple concept of human beings' natural tendency to be afraid of the dark.
Yeah.
It's just ingrained into every human. We don't like to be in dark places. And, obviously as you grow up, that kind of, you can be in a dark living room without being worried. But this movie, that's not exactly the case.
No.
So it takes a concept that everyone on the whole planet can relate to, and it kind of gives it a cool twist. And I think that's one of the things about this movie that makes it stand out from another horror movie. It's not reinventing cinema, it's not reinventing the genre of horror movie, but what it is pretty good for what it's going for.
It's just a good movie. Like, it's not revolutionary, it's not a huge, like, blockbuster kind of thing, but I mean, it's a good movie for what it is.
Mm-hmm. The characters are better than the average horror movie character.
I was going to talk about that. You made a joke about the writer and the good movies that he has written for, but I actually do really like the writing for this movie, especially the script writing. Like,
agreed.
The characters are smart. They're not like, oh, let's go into this dark room with no mind for anything else. Like, the characters are very smart. They think about what they're going to do, and like it makes the movie feel more real as well. Like the characters feel like people.
100%. You care about the main girl named Becca and the little boy.
So much.
He actually little kid characters in horror movies, it is a big gamble as to whether or not they're going to be good.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think the little boy in this movie does a great job, actually. His name is Gabriel Bateman.
Yeah, Gabriel Bateman.
He's been in a few other horror movies. He's been in, like, the Annabelle movie, and he was in the Aquaman movie, I believe. So other James Wan productions. But
yeah, one thing I found really interesting, specifically about, like, the character writing, was Rebecca, who is the main sister character, and I think Martin is the little boy character. Their relationship was amazing. I loved their brother sister relationship so much. It reminded me of, like, have you seen, like, Child's Play?
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of it.
There's the second movie has Andy, the main boy, move into a house where he has an older sister, where they have a really, really great sibling bond, despite not being from the same family. It really reminded me heavily of that. And then when I did some more Googling, it's even more funny, because the kid who plays Martin in this movie also played Andy Barkley in the recent Child's Play movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really, really funny to find out. I was like, wow, I'm thinking about this. And I'm like, it has a bit more truth than what I originally thought.
Yeah. It's the characters are a little bit more than just bodies to be thrown at the monster and killed. Obviously, there's a few.
There's a few of those.
Basically, I'd say this is a general rule for most horror movies. If you see a cop, they are just 100% there to be monster bodies. They are not going to make it to the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And that's the case with this movie. There are characters that are just introduced to be ripped to shreds, but the main characters, though, you want them to make it to the end of the movie because of the writing. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's not like they're not complex, but they're given just enough emotion and personality and motivation that you do end up caring for them.
Yeah.
You really want them to make it out of the situation that we're in, or that they're in, I should say.
Yeah.
And which we'll discuss in a little bit later when we go more in depth in the plot. There's actually a more personal connection that these characters have to Diana, the monster, as well, which I really liked.
Yes.
I liked that they had this very personal connection to the monster. That gave it more... I think that's another thing that elevates it a little bit higher above just another scary ghost movie.
So do we want to hop into kind of the plot, or do we want to take a break?
I'd say let's hop into the very basic plot of it, and then, we can take
I guess I can ask you about this then. Did you like the cold open? Like everything before the original, like, title card. Like, everything with, like, the mannequins and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I literally wrote in my notes, I said, opens with a bunch of mannequins. Nothing better to start a horror movie than a bunch of mannequins.
Yeah. So we are going to be getting into spoiler sections now. So spoilers, if that's something that you care about, then come back and listen to this episode later after you've seen the movie.
Yes, I would say I would say this is a good movie to watch, like we before we spoil it. It would be a good movie for you to watch before we spoil it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the cold opening, I don't know, it sets the mood for the rest of the movie. It's
it does.
Not like...
Well, I mean, that's kind of the point of a cold open.
Well, totally,
to set the mood for the rest of the movie.
The whole opening kind of just encapsulates, like, okay, this is kind of goofy a little bit. But it establishes the monster, and we get to see what it is right off the bat. And we learn more significance about this opening. It's a man working at a warehouse, and we see him going through some paperwork before the monster finds him and kills him. We get to learn a little bit more about that. So I would say that, I like the cold opening.
Yeah, I was pretty sure that the female employee, like, he also has, like, a female employee. Like, this happens, like, super late at night. She comes in and is like, hey, do you need people to work overtime? I was sure the second that we didn't know her name or anything about her, I was sure she was the one that was going to die.
Oh, yeah.
I was sure, like, that she was gone. But nope, it was the one named character, the one, like, background character that we see that gets killed, which was kind of strange, but I feel like they did it really well. So
yeah. Fun fact, actually, that female character, I don't even know. She's just there. She's an employee. Female employee that's there. That's actually the wife of the director of the movie.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yep. She's in a lot of his short films and stuff. And she's also, I think she makes a cameo in every movie that he's directed. She was in Shazam as well.
Oh.
And Annabelle Creation. So, yeah.
I guess that we can kind of talk about... voice crack. I guess we can kind of talk about that, too. This film started as a short film.
Yes, it
was
did.
it was a short film of the same name, directed by David F. Sandberg.
Yep.
Which is the way that a lot of his films start. He's I believe he's Swedish.
Yeah.
So he's made a lot of short films, and this is one of his movies that came from a short film, which is kind of a cool concept to think about, that a lot of horror movies have come from short films.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
I know Saw started as a short film.
Yep.
There are others in my brain that I can think that started as short films, but Saw is the only one that comes to mind.
No, yeah. So,
I know there are others, though.
And Saw is a good example because that movie, the short and the feature film, were directed by James Wan, who went on to produce this movie. So it's kind of a cool little connection with those. Yeah. No, I did know that there was a short film. Have you ever seen the short film?
I haven't, actually. I didn't learn about it until I was, researching for the episode that I found out it was a short film. But, I mean, now knowing the context of the movie, I would probably like to watch it.
Mm-hmm. The short film's really good. That's another part about this movie, why, personally, it connects for me so much. It's kind of inspiring. It's cool to see this guy. He was just making short films for fun. He was just doing them because he liked making movies. And he would upload them to YouTube. And then I think he won some awards at Sundance for his Lights Out short film.
That would make sense.
he got approached by some people that wanted to make it into a real thing. And he was like, oh, really? And they're like, yeah, we want you to direct it. So he went from just doing these things for fun to being able to direct a full-length movie about a concept that he came up with.
Wow.
And now he's gone on to make million budget dollar movies. He made Shazam for DC, which is...
That was spooky. The lights just went out in the hallway as we're talking about a movie where the lights go out.
If you don't hear from any of us, you know what happened.
You know what happened. This is a documentation.
Good. It's inspiring to me personally because you get to see him just start from extremely humble origins, and now he's doing what he loves. And so that's another reason that this movie holds a special place for me, despite it being nothing great, but combined with the parts that it does well and these cool little background elements about the director and the story, I think it makes this movie, it makes it into something special, more so than I'd say the average horror movie, at least for me personally. I don't know if you would say the same thing.
I mean, I can kind of come to some conclusions with that. I mean, I didn't make any huge sort of short films kind of for that kind of reason, but me and my younger sister we loved to make we had this video camera, and we would just love to make little stories with dolls and our own bodies, and move them like puppets and that kind of thing, and they never really went anywhere but just the save files of a computer somewhere. But it was still really cool to see how these little short films with the stories that we just came up with in our brains just come into fruition and make just kind of a cool little thing that we can look back on now. So
totally, yeah.
Film is a really, really cool area of study, and I'm very glad to be here to be learning about film, because I'm thinking about things that I would have never thought about before watching a movie.
Agreed, yeah.
So
yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, and just because I've said that it holds a special place in my heart, let me be clear. This movie's far from perfect.
Yeah, this movie's
far from perfect, all right? This is not...
We just sang its praises so much, but...
Yeah, this is not a flawless masterpiece.
Yeah,
it's goofy. It's a little bit dumb at parts.
Yeah.
But if you want to hear about our criticisms of the movie, then stick around. We're going to be having a short break, and then we'll be back to discuss some parts of the movie that we weren't so fond of, and other parts that we might have liked. So, stick around. We'll be right back.
feel like it would be, like, I feel like the way that they tried to cue it in was, like, it was old. Like, it was really, really old medical records. So, like, it would be, they might have been, like, I don't know, like, expired or however that works. Like, where you can just kind of see. And, like, because you can go into, like, files or, like, Google, and you can find records of anything if it's old enough.
Sure.
So, I feel like that's what they were trying to cue into there, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, I suppose, I mean, if it's old enough, but still, like, I think...
I mean, if this movie
I'm pretty
was
sure that's against the law.
like,
I don't think you can give medical records to just anybody.
I mean, it's never really clear where, like, at like, what year it's set in.
True.
So, I mean, one of the characters has a cell phone, and, like, they have these, like, nice cars. So, I assumed it was set in the release year,
right,
2016.
Yeah. I think that's safe to say.
I'm not 100% sure, but... Yeah, going back to what I was going to say for, like, my biggest, like, confusing part of the movie, I was so confused as to how Diana was able to get into other places that weren't Sophie's house if she was connected to Sophie.
Yeah, Diana can basically just teleport. She's just like...
That's terrifying!
It is terrifying, if not also a little bit inconsistent and weird.
Because, like, she ended up in Rebecca's house. She ended up in... Or did she end up in anywhere else other than Rebecca's house? I think there was one other place where...
Well, she was at that factory in the beginning of the movie, yeah.
Like, it was so confusing as to why she can end up in these areas and not be, like... And not have her and not have Sophie there as we see like she's connected to Sophie, then why is she able to just like be free and run around? Like that was super confusing for me.
It's very and it's very explicitly in the movie set up that, you know, she's only existing because Sophie has let her in to her mind, and Sophie is the one that has let her take control over her life and abuse her family for many years. And so, yeah, you're right. It doesn't make sense that she can just go wherever she wants. At least in terms of, like, I mean, like, she teleports miles away to different people's, like, houses. And I don't think, you know... I'm sure that's just one of the things that you're not supposed to think about, you know. You're not supposed to think of Diana walking out and taking the bus to get to the apartment building or whatever.
Yeah, that's weird.
But no, I agree. I agree that it doesn't... It's just a little bit like, oh, she's here now? Okay.
All right.
How'd she get here? I don't know.
I guess since we were kind of talking about... Diana's connection to Sophie, we can kind of move in towards like the ending of the movie and how everything wraps up. How'd you feel about that?
If they were going for a twist, then I saw it coming from a mile away, even when I was like 13 and watching this movie.
Yeah.
I think it's just fine.
Yeah.
I don't really have any major problem with it.
I don't either. I was just trying, because I wrote in my notes, I was like, the ending was like, I didn't expect it. I was not expecting that, for context, spoiler warning again, I mean, just, again, we're going to keep saying it, but, Diana is finally defeated by the mom shooting herself in the head with one of the cops' guns.
Yep.
So, mom dies, so Brett, Martin, and Rebecca all make it out, but mom does not.
When the mom sacrifices herself, Diana, like, instantly disappears into, like, smoke.
That almost felt... I mean, obviously, like, there wasn't a huge, like, conflict or any sort of, like, battle with Diana that really could happen.
Right.
But I feel like her just fizzling out was kind of anticlimactic. Like, it obviously, like, it made it, the movie, like, all of, everything that happened that night in the house leading up to that was the climax.
Right.
So, it just felt so weird just seeing, like, you're connected to me, without me, you're not doing anything, bang, poof, bad guy gone.
Right, yeah.
So, I don't know, I still liked it, like, it was a very good way to wrap up the movie, and it also didn't set it up for a sequel. Which also helped it, because most of the time when you see movies that are set up specifically for a sequel, you can, like, it's a gamble whenever they do that, because there's a gamble of if they will be funded to make the sequel,
Right.
if the sequel will be good, like if it ties into everything. And it's inevitable, and it's kind of bad to say, but sometimes viewing of a sequel can sometimes ruin the original.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie didn't set up for there to be a Lights Out 2 or
Right.
like Turn the Lights Out Again or something like that. But,
Yeah. No, yeah, I totally agree with you. They don't sequel bait at the end. There's this little tiny bait and switch where Martin and his sister are in the ambulance and the lights flicker and it's like, ooh, and then Brett goes, she's gone now, guys, but I've got you. You're safe. And then the camera pans back and you see the house and the movie ends. I really don't have any problem with the ending. I think it kind of just, like we said, the movie just comes and goes, and the ending is like, okay, now's the ending, and then the movie ends.
Yeah.
And it's like, it didn't bother me. I didn't think it was too anticlimactic. I didn't think it was very, like, shocking.
It wasn't anything special, but it also was just kind of like...
Right.
It was a nice way to tie up the ends of the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I agree.
I guess that's kind of really all of my thoughts that I really wanted to talk about, of like the main plot of the movie, other than like their house is really cool. I thought it was really, I really liked. I like the social worker character.
Mm-hmm.
She seemed very sweet and nice, and she was trying.
Yeah.
Their family situation was so weird that it was just really bad. But yeah, I feel like unless you have anything else to share, I think we'll go to one more commercial song break, and we'll come back and do some fun movie trivia about this movie and quiz each other.
Sounds good to me.
Woo!
See you guys in a little bit.
All right, we are back. So, on days where we kind of just have not a lot to end on with, or end with, we have some trivia, movie trivia, to quiz each other on. So, it's all around the movie, and I don't know about you, but I grabbed from some of the behind-the-scenes knowledge of the movie. Not necessarily a lot of the plot. I don't know if that's what you did too, or... Not
too much, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I mostly got some of the, like, some tidbits about the director and producer, and then some just general stuff about the movie.
Okay. Do you want to go first or me? Because you have a lot more questions than I was able to find.
Sure. I think I'm pretty sure we've like discussed some of these already, but we'll just see how many you can remember.
Jog my knowledge.
All right. First question: what other horror movie did the director of this film make?
Annabelle. Is there more?
A little bit.
Of the title?
Of the title.
Oh, Annabelle Origins?
Creation. Like, basically right on it.
Come on, thesaurus it, man. It's the same word.
Yeah. All right, staying on the topic of the director, David F. Sandberg, what DCEU film did he direct?
Shazam.
Yes. Did you ever see Shazam?
No, I don't think I ever did. I think, is it Zachary Levi who is the
name? Yeah.
And then also, oh gosh, it's the kid from It. It's Eddie from the reboot of It. So, definitely a good cast, but no, I did not see that movie.
I watched that one over quarantine. It was pretty fun. It's such a tonally opposite movie from Lights Out and Annabelle Creation.
Oh, absolutely.
I
was really honestly surprised. I was like, okay, so we got 2 horror movies, and then Shazam.
Even the director was surprised. I actually listened to a podcast where he guest starred, and they talked about just what a complete and utter difference it is to go from directing these pretty low budget horror movies to having $100 million budget superhero movie that millions of people are gonna see.
Yeah.
And yeah, he didn't search it out or anything. They just contacted him. So
I mean, if Lights Out was any indication, I feel like they had a good reason to. So
no, yeah, he pulled it off. I watched it during quarantine. It's probably the best DC movie that's ever come out. So
we can talk about that on a different day.
All right. Do you want to do a question now?
Oh, sure. So in this movie, did the director try to focus, or did the director do more practical effects or CGI?
Oh boy. I'd probably say practical. I think he tried to go practical.
Yep. So David F. Sandberg decided to focus on practical effects and avoided CGI as much as possible.
Yep. I don't think any of. I was gonna say I was trying to think. Oh, is there any CGI? And I don't really think nothing that was too noticeable.
Some of the they probably used CGI for a little bit of the some of the physical things with Diana with
totally,
reaching around and weird, but
the skin, her skin, and when it would burn from the light, that was I suppose that was CGI, but yeah. But no, the practical effects they're fairly on point in this one. And I always appreciate a director that uses practical over CGI.
Yep, I do too. It's really cool.
All right. I'll go for another question. Is there a Lights Out 2 sequel in the works?
Oh. I mean, we did kind of talk about it, how they didn't set it up for one. I'm going to have to say no.
That is incorrect.
Serious?
There is a Lights Out 2 that is it's set to come out in 2021.
We just got done talking about how the first one tied it all up and it doesn't need a sequel.
It really doesn't. And I honestly, I wonder where they'd even take it from this point.
Honestly,
they would have to focus on Rebecca or Martin.
Or Diana shifting to somebody else.
I think that's they'd have to shift it to now she's haunting. Now she's latched on to. I don't know about that one.
No,
I really don't want to see that happen. Honestly, yeah, a little bit yikes. Yeah, we'll see how that turns out. We'll see if it even gets made. Sometimes these things just shut down.
And I mean, even with the COVID, production has almost completely shut down. So.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but there is one that is lined up under David Sandberg's name. Is it under his name or is it just?
I'm not sure. Well, I wouldn't know. You were the one who came up with the question.
Yeah, no, I know it's listed.
I didn't get the thing.
Let's see here.
Here, you Google that. I will give you my next question.
Okay.
How long did it take for the movie to make back its entire production budget?
Ooh, oh boy, its entire production budget. Maybe 1 month? Was it shorter than that? I'll go with 1 month.
It's technically a trick question because it made it all back on its opening day in the box office.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
That is cool, yeah. It's when with these kind of horror movies, you can do them for dirt cheap. So.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of super big effects. So I guess it wasn't really that hard to make. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about movie budgets and everything.
No,
I know very, very low budget things. So.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. I mean, all they've got to do is rent a house, turn the lights off, and get a few, and get a creepy silhouette. No, there's a little bit more than that.
Just buy some morph suits from Party City. Let's go, boys.
Honestly, I should have thought about that. A whole month. Jeez, that's ridiculous. Yeah. No, yeah, that doesn't surprise me, actually. This was very well received. People liked it quite a bit, which is probably why there's a Lights Out 2 in production. All right, just a really basic one here. What year did this movie premiere?
2016?
Correct.
Oh, okay. So I thought you were going to be wrong. It came out earlier than that, and it's everything you've read has lied to you. All right.
You go ahead.
Oh, all right. So I talked about it before, but I think the house in this movie is really cool. It has also been used for another horror movie that came out around this same time.
Insidious.
No.
Oh, I thought I was going to be right on with that.
It was Ouija.
Oh.
It was Ouija and then oranges of evil.
Okay.
I was trying to say origin of evil, and I kept saying orange.
Okay, interesting. Oh, I thought for sure it was going to be Insidious. Interesting. No, yeah, the Ouija movies haven't appealed to me.
I never saw them.
I haven't. That's what I mean. They haven't appealed to me enough for me to seek them out and watch them. Not too interested. All right. Okay, here's one question from the plot of the movie. We'll see if you can remember. How many people did Diana kill in the movie? Not on screen, just how many total did she directly murder?
So wait, okay, so she kills the dad. She kills the cop. You can't really say she kills the mom. No.
Nope.
So you're talking like flashback stuff too, or like anything like that?
I would say
the tape was. I wasn't really paying attention to the tape.
No, yeah, you're good. So, no, I'll give you a hint. There was nothing in the tape. Nothing at the mental institution.
I'm gonna have to say 2 then.
I actually had 4 listed down.
4.
There were 2 police officers that came into the house.
Oh, did both of them die? I thought the female one made it out alive. I thought she called for backup and then was never seen again. I didn't think she
called for backup and then she walked around a corner and then Rebecca came up the stairs and saw the cop standing there, and then the light shone and the cop fell forward on her face. And it was
I had no idea. I thought that was like this. I thought that was the same cop, or I thought it was the same cop being like possessed by her and then just like falling and dying. I don't know.
Oh no,
I didn't catch that one. Who was the 4th one though?
The 4th one was Diana kills the stepdad at the beginning of the film.
Oh, she also killed.
And she also killed. Rebecca's birth dad.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, and I suppose that's probably a bit of a trick question.
No, it's not because it does get hinted at. It's not like you have to infer it yourself. Like she literally says, this is how I will show you how your dad died.
Yeah.
Like she's been told like her dad just left like her entire life. So okay, that was fair. So that was very fair.
All right.
I'm out of questions, so you can
all right, I got 2 more, and I don't think these ones are too hard. These are about the producers of the film.
Okay.
The producer of this film has made several other horror films. Can you name any of them? I'm specifically talking about James Wan.
Okay.
So I'll give you that.
Saw.
Yep.
Dead Silence.
Yep.
If you don't want to count franchises, he also did Saw 2. I can only think of I can really only think of Dead Silence and Saw. I mean, I know. Yeah, those are the only 2 that I can really think of.
No, you're good. I only said 1, so you got 2. Okay. You got 2 times the amount that I
nice.
eliminated.
I'm an overachiever.
Yeah, no, he did Aquaman. He did The Conjuring as well.
Oh, The Conjuring.
And he also did Insidious too, which is why I thought it might have been the same house because James Wan also directed that. And then he did.
Aquaman's not a horror movie.
Aquaman's not a horror movie. No, no. And then they also had him as directing Furious 7, like the Fast and Furious movie.
Oh.
And yeah, I remember like hearing about that when it was coming out. I'm like, oh, I know who James Wan is. He did that Saw movie.
Yeah, he did the only the couple good Saw movies.
Yeah, no, yeah, he directed Fast and Furious 7. And I just thought that was kind of funny. It's a very I suppose Aquaman sticks out too, but Furious 7, just what the heck. All right.
If I may add one thing, I would love to cover Saw at some point on this podcast.
Oh, 100%.
I would love to.
The Saw movies are fantastic.
We'll have to show that to some of our guests to see if anyone would like to 100%. Do that, because I would love to do that.
No, yeah, Saw is a classic. And then I had another question, but I'm pretty sure that I just gave you the answer within the answer of the last one. What DCEU film did Lights Out producer James Wan direct?
Aquaman.
Yep.
Woo! Awesome.
Yeah. I still have not seen Aquaman.
I love context clues. Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
Yeah. All right, yeah. So that's all the trivia I've got.
That's fun. I like that. We'll have to do that segment of more often. That's a lot of fun.
Definitely.
So we kind of came up with this during the commercial break, but we'd also like to kind of give a rating for our for the movies that we review, because this is a review podcast. So how do you want to do? Like, you want to do it like out of 5, like 5 stars?
I always review out of 10.
Oh, out of 10. Okay.
Yeah. So you can see my rating on Letterboxd if you follow me at public nuisance on Letterboxd. You can see all my reviews on there.
I'm on there too, but I forgot my username.
Yeah, sorry, I had to shill that. If there's anything you want to
hold on. Let me find my Letterboxd account. Hold on. It literally has nothing on it. Like, I've never actually...
Yeah.
Yeah, you keep talking. I'll find it.
Yeah, so follow me on Letterboxd. You can see all my other reviews and scores and ratings on there. This movie holds a very personal place in my heart, but it is not...
It's not anywhere near perfect.
It's not anywhere near perfect. It's not great. It's just good. It's good. I would recommend it. I've seen this movie a million times. I think it is rewatchable, fairly rewatchable anyways. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10.
I would be a bit, I mean, I don't have that much of a background with the movie. I'm just basically seeing it face value. Just kind of from everything that I've seen and how much I liked about the movie, like cinematography-wise, the character-wise. I would give it a 7 out of 10.
Oh, okay, good.
Just because, like, it's also, like, they're, like, the kind of confusing bits were...
Sure.
So.
Yeah.
So, all right. We made it through our first ever episode. Also, my Letterboxd username is Lima Victor Whiskey. LIMAVICT, or is it? No. LIMAVCTRWSKY. We'll have it somewhere so they can find it.
All right. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. If anyone's still around listening to the end of this podcast, we'd like to thank you very much for tuning in and listening to us ramble about a movie.
Honestly, this has been so much fun.
It's been very fun, and we are... I think I speak for the both of us when we say we're very excited to do more podcasts.
Oh, absolutely.
And talk about more movies.
I literally told you I wanted to plan for something else in the future.
Yeah.
You did tell me to come up with another movie for next week, but I haven't yet. So we'll see by Monday if we have another movie.
We will be back on Monday.
5:00,
and we will be talking about another horror movie to stay within
the spooky month.
100%. All right. Unless you got anything else to add, I think that's about it.
I'm very happy that this is happening, and I'm very happy right now. So this has been really, really fun.
All right. We're excited to bring you guys more content as the year goes on. We'll see you guys later.
All right.
Bye.
Have a good day.